Gordon Dalgleish here again. Delighted to have Joe Plecker with us today. Joe just recently moved from Maryland down to Savannah, Georgia. I've known Joe for a dozen years, and he's got one of the cool titles in the game of golf, Chief Swing Officer for Swing AI. So, Joe, welcome. I'm glad you could join us today.
So honored to be here, my friend, and always great to be with you.
Obviously a challenging time to move yourself and move your family south, but I'm sure you will thoroughly enjoy living and working at the Landings, and we'll touch on that later. But so Joe, you've been a golf instructor for many, many years, and I've been fortunate to know Joe for a dozen or so years, and he's very much the quintessential gentleman professional golfer. Just a great ambassador for the game. So walk us through your kind of how you get into the game of golf, if it was family or it was friends, or kind of your favorite memories from your childhood, possibly playing golf.
There's so many, and I'm a proud second generation PGA master professional. My father, Coleman, started me in the game, and I can remember the first day we learned to play. My sister and I started the same day. He split a set of Patty Berg golf clubs that were cut down, and I got the even numbers and my sister got the odd numbers, and we were on our way. Yeah, she did. She was older. and I really learned at an early level from wonderful mentors in the game. My father, Bill Strasball Jr. at Columbia Country Club, was my coach for a little while, and really set a model for a gentleman golf professional. And then I got to learn about teaching from other mentors in the game. My friend Rick Martino was at Oakmont. Mike Adams, just an amazing golf instructor, and the community of professionals that I grew up with who we started teaching, and teaching really wasn't a career path in golf. In my young era of being a pro, it was everyone was to be a head golf professional, and I was just so enamored with teaching, and I loved the art and the science behind it, and I really loved to help other people through that skill of helping them with their game, and it really just took off for me. I could never imagine myself behind the counter in the operations. I'm still no good there. I can mess up a daily tee sheet more than anyone, but I can fix a golf swing, and the game of that is my passion, really helping people get better.
So as you were growing up, what do you think drew you to just the kind of perfecting the swing and understanding the swing? Were there any instructors that you kind of aspire to be like or watched?
Yeah, and I watched many in person. And the first that I went to see present to other instructors was Jim McLain. And Jim was one of the first instructors that I watched use technology and evidence and research-based to validate his teaching. And to me, it made absolute sense. And I watched the seminar, and I noticed a friend of mine was assisting him during the day. His name escapes me right now, but we ended up, it was Brian Lebetovich, a great teacher. And I went up to Brian. We had played in college against each other, and I said, I'd love to meet Jim. And he introduced me, and I blurted out to Jim, I said, I'd love to work for you. And he said, well, there's an opening in New York City at Chelsea Piers in Manhattan. And I was on a plane and started out teaching in New York City, of all places. And it was there that, video, working and working in steps and showing progression of the golf swing that really made sense from student progress and things we could chart. And it was something that I could really understand and see progression in players. Many students that haven't had that experience, they get turned off by lessons because it doesn't really follow a plan. And Jim really showed how to use technology, forming a plan with students. And I feel very blessed and honored that I grew up in an era pre-technology of golf. And
Yeah.
as a teacher, every time a piece of technology was introduced, I bought it and I tried it and I worked with it. So in a lot of ways, I've been on this front line of technology and teaching and helping golfers. And when Radar first came out, none of
Mhm.
us knew what we were doing with it. We had this device that told us all this data, and we thought there was one great swing, but then we learned there was many ways to do it. And then as more technology came out, 3D pressure plates, we learned that more than anything, that there were more patterns and more ways that golfers can successfully hit a golf shot. And it opened up, I think, this wonderful era that we're in right now, where golf instruction really can help people get better, because we recognize there are more than one way to swing a golf club.
I am probably not your best potential customer because I started playing golf when I was 7, and I took lessons every Sunday for 7 years, and that's about it. And so my theory is alignment and tempo, and then what happens happens. But but I understand exactly what you're talking about, because there's so many people that are just passionate about improving their game. And selfishly, from PerryGolf's perspective, obviously, if you travel and play golf better, you enjoy your trip more. It's a fairly, as opposed to traveling and not playing as well.
Right.
So anything that you can be done to improve, your golf experience enhances the travel experience as well. So with the background that you have, and then Swing AI came along, using artificial intelligence to improve the golf swing. You want to just kind of walk everybody through how that came about and how it works, and run through the whole dog and pony show?
I would love to. And like all great ideas, it started with a beer and a game of cornhole with my good friend Rick Garretts, and we were talking about what I do in teaching, and really realizing that even in a really great year of coaching, maybe 100 students, I could impact the lives of 100 students through consistent coaching progression. And realizing that that's not going to change the world. We're not going to grow the game of golf or help a tremendous amount of golfers. So how would we reach more? And through technology and scaling golf instruction, we set about, very heads down, what does a data model of golf instruction look like? And I was humbled by the process, by how many ways that golfers can hit a slice, and how in the world were we going to tackle the issue of a method that all teachers could look at a swing and without bias tell someone how to get better. And with the help of some tremendous data architects, digital designers, we were able to put together our data model, which is built off of a player mishit, what we call the data model around the laws of ball flight that relate then to swing elements, such as a grip, a tempo, as you said, an alignment, things that we can focus on the player and give them direct feedback on, and then give them improvement. And when we started to release it out, when it was built and working in a very first version, a beta version, I shared it with some fellow top 100 teachers, and it was a nerve-wracking moment for me to get their feedback. And all of them told me, they said, wow, I really can use this. I can see myself, this is how I would think it through a lesson. And so we sort of digitized the in-person lesson process, and then made it so that we could teach thousands of students and grow what we consider to be the most needy audience of golfers, those that don't take golf lessons.
Yeah.
And the ones that do, like yourself, that have even had that experience, we can make it simple, and we can make it effective, and we can make it something that is enjoyable to go through a learning process. So learning about data and technology, apps, scalable technology for learning, in remote coaching, has just been an incredible journey in these past few years. It's something that I think needs to happen to help the game of golf grow to its full potential.
One of the things that really attracted me to the concept that you're working to is just, and you referenced it earlier, is, people are given too much information, and it's the ability to kind of break it down. And we're not going to release the next piece of information to you until you've got your grip sorted out.
Right.
And once your grip is sorted out, it's to go to your alignment. Or I'm doing this backwards, but it's the principle that you're not, well, how many times does somebody go to a 45-minute lesson and they walk away and the instructor says, well, I want you to work on these 3 things. And nobody quite knows which one's the most important of the 3 things. And I think that's one of the things that just struck me as being a very sensible. You take one, you get that sorted out, you get comfortable with it, and then you move on. And it's just a kind of, so you've got a sense as to what you're up to. Do you get good feedback on that basis?
Yeah, and that's what we call the roadmap, the student roadmap, that allows a player to work in progression one at a time, understand why this is something the coach wants them to do. And in that roadmap is the one most important thing. And we've discovered that we call it the primary swing fault. It's the one thing that if we focus on and improve, we'll have drastic gains in your game. And it should be that easy. It should be like visiting a doctor or knowing how to get better. What's the plan of action from here? And on purpose, by design, we keep it limited. We make it simple, and the feedback that we provide for each lesson, it's just right at the center of the bullseye. We don't want any vagueness of why we're trying to fix or change something like your grip or a ball position, because it's going to have a positive impact on the rest of your game. Not a rebuild, but something that's going to enhance what you already do well.
Yep. And so taking a lesson from a golf professional can be intimidating for many people, understandably so. To be out there for 45 minutes or 30 minutes or an hour or whatever, and you're hitting golf balls and somebody's looking at you, when you think about it, it's actually a fairly inefficient way of doing it. You're using somebody's time. So, I think if I understand it correctly, you've also kind of tried to address the affordability aspect of that lesson, and also from the golf professional standpoint, the income stream potential. So it's kind of the ultimate meeting spot that's a win-win-win situation.
Yeah, and golf's expensive, and lessons with top instructors, they're expensive because there's value that you're going to get some feedback and know what to do. But for so many golfers, we found that cost was a barrier, that it was certainly a time and cost issue. And that latter part, the time, how incredibly effective we need to be with our time management as coaches and players and people today, and offering people the ability to send in their swings using their phones from anywhere, has led to some pretty amazing submissions. We've gotten some videos from golfers that are on oil rigs in the middle of golf, and I've seen golf swings of people hitting in their apartments into mattresses, that are they want feedback. And what I've found is that it's a universal thing in golfers. We want to get better, and it's knowing it's endlessly frustrating to not know what to do. And by creating this app, we've created a way that anyone with the camera on their phone can interact with the top coach and get that feedback, and then be led on a journey that they'll continue to get feedback from that coach with. So time, money, absolutely huge barriers that we wanted to break with this app, that we wanted to make accessibility and affordability. And I think we've gotten an incredible global response of everyone who loves the game of golf sending in swings from anywhere, really.
So you've touched on it, sending in swings from anywhere. So distance learning, I know my son and virtually every child currently is going through remote learning from school. So it seems quite appropriate to be talking about distance learning. you want to just kind of walk through how that would work from a reality standpoint? How many times somebody's uploading, or how much time is being spent, and how the feedback is shared with between the instructor and the student?
Yeah, and it's great because we have players in every time zone. I coach golfers in Australia, all the way around Europe, and here in the East Coast of the United States. And our feedback loop, once players send in their golf swing, is less than a day to get their complete roadmap back to them. And what will happen is they'll then get a thoughtful and detailed introduction of their swing, what they do well, what they need to improve, and their first lesson element with a very specific video to watch that details how they need to improve that element. And once they practice, then we ask for submission, and that can happen anytime. And we know that life gets busy and no one can jump right out to the range. So it might be a day, a week, 2 weeks when that player has time to go practice and resubmit their swing. And then we only score on that element. We only give feedback to what the player is working on in their golf swing. And why that's been successful in how people want to interact with their coach is they don't want to change their swing every time they open the app, and they don't want to be told another thing that's wrong. But by focusing on one thing at a time in progression, it's given them something very, very simple to focus on, very effective to learn about. And when they resubmit, it's great. You know, we can tell immediately as a coach whether the grip has changed from a weak to a stronger position, for example, or whether the player is making a better turn or coil in their backswing. And that's great because it starts a real dialogue, just like we would do in a lesson, which you know, the in-person lesson process that this is built on, you know, it supports the student. And we couldn't tell a player 10 things that are wrong in their golf swing and then expect them to go fix them all. You know, one thing has to build on to the next. And that's why I really think that this process mirrors what we know is successful in person. And the feedback loop that we create is very instantaneous. Once the player sends in their swing, we get their feedback to them really quickly.
And so the player, if I understand this correctly, you know, from the handicap perspective, you also try to share with them what their kind of potential handicap could be if they were to implement some of these changes.
Yeah, we did some really interesting research with some partners in the game, and we used millions of rounds of golf of golfers that registered their handicaps, and we knew about driving distance, how many greens in regulation, scrambling percentages, putting percentages. And what we do is we create what's called a handicap challenge, which a player can come in, tell us what their handicap is presently and what they would like to be. And we use that data to then show areas of improvement based on those statistics about increasing driver distance and how many more greens in regulation do I need to hit? How much better do I need to be around the greens to reach that goal? And then our roadmap is built around supporting those improvement areas. So instead of just fixing a swing, which as golfers we know sometimes doesn't always work. I might have a better swing, but I'm not producing better results. So this is a way that we like to support evidence for golfers that are getting better, not only based on the swing that our coaches and students are working on, but here are the metrics of your golf game. These are the health metrics of being a good golfer. And again, from the wonderful people in the data side of the world that I've worked with, they've made it so simple just to see what your handicap is and what you'd like it to be and where to improve.
Which I think is just a terrific use of all the technology kind of coming together to hopefully give people yet another reason to play. So in the background, we're here, we see you, Joe, we've got the virtual studio, which I just think is a terrific technology that you guys have created.
Thank you.
You want to just chat about it? It's because it's you're actually sitting in a teleconference room.
Yeah, and so we've got the virtual studio here, and we use this as the backdrop for our content videos that we send out to students that are lessons from our professionals on fixing a swing fault. And we also use this to provide a great way that we can show our European Tour players that we've interviewed and use content with as well. And most of all, the virtual studio, it creates a way that all of our teachers are working out of the same platform. And for us, this is just one of the early things that we decided to do. Instead of standing up in front of maybe a single camera on a driving range, we thought, wouldn't it be cool if we actually created the world's first virtual swing index golf studio? So it's been a really neat characteristic of our content, and we really like that you like it. Thank you.
That's terrific. Now, I know that you've got you're working throughout the world now, but some of the pros that you're maybe working with, or you've worked with in the past, or you're working with under the Swing AI umbrella just now that we might be familiar with?
Yeah, so a lot of the top 100 teachers that I mentioned, Mark Derlin in Naples, Florida, a terrific instructor, and all the way in the UK, Chris Ryan, you might recognize him as one of the world's top YouTube instructors, Forest of Arden instructor as well. And we're very excited about launching with the Pete Cowan Academy in Dubai. And so as we kind of grow in our network of instructors, what we're really excited about is that they're still able to use their assessments. They can personally deliver roadmaps and share what the students need to do to get better. But it's this wonderful diversity of instructors and personalities and how they coach and what they do. And this allows them to remotely reach thousands and thousands of golfers, and our network is growing. So yes,
that's terrific. Now you just you're actually in the final stages of moving from Maryland to Savannah. You're going to be working at the Landings, which is a large facility down there. You want to just share a little bit about what you'll be doing down there?
Yeah, I'm really excited. This role and phase are terrific, and it's a large club, and there are over 6,000 residents here at the Landings, and thousands of golfers. And you know, they're for one coach and a team of teachers, that's a lot of in-person lessons, but it's also a great way to keep scaling remote coaching, even at the club where I work. And it also provides me a tremendous ability to coach and be on the golf course, which is one of my passions that I always love to do, which is the analog version of teaching, if you will, which is the one-on-one in-person stuff. But I love the ability that I'll have to create year-round, which I've believe it or not, I've never lived year-round in a climate where I don't get snow or rain. So this will be a really great chapter in my life to be able to go out, create, coach, and lead a team of instructors and coach remotely with the Swing Index in one place.
Wow, that's terrific. Joe, you've been exceptionally generous with your time today in the midst of a family move.
Yeah.
One thing that I do know is that the folks at the Landings are exceptionally fortunate to have somebody of your talent coming into their midst and helping them with their golf swings and adding value to the whole golf experience. So congratulations to you on the move, and very best wishes with everything that you're doing with Swing AI. The mix of technology and golf and experience is a fabulous thing. You should do very well.
I'm honored to be on your program, and I love what you're putting together here. And that's very moving to hear those kind words from you. And I really hope anybody that wants to experience remote coaching with me, please by all means come on board on the Swing Index, and I look forward to this growth in our industry of remote coaching through technology. And it's get more people playing golf and taking some great golf trips too. Nothing like that. Couldn't be better.
Perfect. Joe, take good care of yourself.
Thank you so much, Gordon. All
Cheers.
the best.
And know your swing.